Epcot is an amazing park. Don't blunder your way through it with all of these tips. As you can see from my signs back there, Epcot is absolutely my favorite park. I want to help you have a great day in Epcot by helping you avoid these mistakes. We're just going to get right into it. We're going to start right away with the first moments in the park, rope dropping. For those who don't know, they used to actually use a big red velvet rope and they would walk you into the park, and they don't really do that anymore. They haven't done it in a number of years. This isn't related to recent events, but they still do call it rope dropping. And rope dropping is when they let you into the park early, they let you congregate somewhere, and then at a specific time, they go, have at it, have a good day in the park. Now, we learned the hard way this past summer that we have to be there extra early to rope drop. And now you have to do it even more so, especially if you're a resort guest, because you get to get into the park 30 minutes before everybody else. So you need to make sure you're there early. Look, you may not like what I'm about to say, but if you actually want to rope drop and you actually want to be one of the first people on whatever ride you're looking to get on, you have to be there about an hour before your opening time. I know that sounds ridiculous, but especially if you're a Disney park guest that's not staying in a Disney hotel, you need to make sure you're there extra early because the Disney park guests are going to have one up on you. So watch out for that. Also, one of the things is be careful where you're going based on where you're coming in from. We were staying at the boardwalk and wanted to go on Test Track. In the first big mistake that we made, we tried to go from the International Gateway all the way to Test Track. Well, the people from the front of the park beat us. Check it out.
The rope drop fail. We were shooting for Test Track and they released the front gate well before they released the International Gateway. And the Test Track line literally is already at a 2-hour wait before we got there. Like, it was so packed full of people. They're testing it, they're running it, but we're not getting on it right now because you can see it kind of building up behind us. It is massive and we are not waiting in that. So, oh well. Rope drop fail, probably our first one in a very, very long time.
Yeah, you see, we did not get on Test Track until way later that night. You should also check out that video of the complete ride through because it was on at night and it's pretty awesome. However, just make sure you decide which gateway you're going to come in. International Gateway is back by France, in between France and England, and the front gate, well, the front gate leads you to Spaceship Earth. So make sure you know which gate you're going in and which ride you want to get on based on which gate you're going in. Pay attention to the maps, all right? My next couple points are actually really quick. One of the things I want to make sure to recommend to you is that you have excellent footwear and making sure you choose the right shoes for you, especially in Epcot, because Epcot is 1.2 miles around from start to finish, going just around World Showcase. That's not including all the other areas. So if you're going to be in Epcot that day, you're going to be walking a lot. Make sure you have good shoes. Make sure that if you're prone to blisters that you bring the moleskin with you. That stuff works wonders. Make sure you have everything to protect your feet. You'll thank me later. Also, make sure that you have shoes that if they happen to get wet, they're not gonna cause worse blisters. That's also a really important thing. I recommend my Teva sandals. I also like to wear my Asics running shoes when I'm out there. Michelle has a great pair of strappy shoes that she will recommend, and I'll make sure to put links down below so you can find all those things. Just so you know, excellent footwear is an absolute must. The next quick point that I want to make is that if you're coming in from the main gate, don't go on Spaceship Earth first thing. I love Spaceship Earth. I love it. I mean, I love it. It's one of my favorite rides in all of Walt Disney World. It's just old school Epcot, and I love it for that. But don't go on it first thing, because pretty much everybody comes in the front gate and goes on it in the morning. If you wait till about mid-afternoon, around 3 o'clock, you're gonna find less than 5-minute wait, which means a walk-on. So don't go on Spaceship Earth first thing. It's one of those things that I know people want to do it first because it's the big golf ball. I hate that name, by the way. It's the big icon of the park. You need to wait, and you'll get on it right away, and then you'll be much happier for it. One of the next things I want to recommend is that while the festivals are awesome and the food booths there are great, and if you're looking to go around and have a bunch of small bites, I highly recommend doing that. But don't forget that some of the best restaurants in all of Walt Disney World are scattered around World Showcase. Some of the ones that Michelle and I like to recommend, first off in the quick service, we actually recommend the Regal Eagle Smokehouse. The barbecue there is fantastic. We have a great review on that one. I also like to recommend the Beer Garden because you can get a full liter of Dunkel beer, one of my favorites, and hearty German foods. Le Cellier has amazing steaks in Canada, and you really can't go wrong with that cheddar cheese soup. Oh, it's so good. And I would also like to recommend the Garden Grill. Now, the Garden Grill is a character breakfast that slowly rotates through the land, and I'm looking really forward to being able to do a review for you soon. One quick thing I want to add about the food is that my good friend Carrie Ann has a family with her husband and 4 children, and she likes to talk about when she's doing the food thing that it's really easy for them to share a quick service meal and then go looking for small plates. And she recommends that because then she doesn't have super hungry kids going, I want something, as you walking that 1.2 miles around World Showcase trying to find that one thing. She says it has completely helped them not have that 3 p.m. meltdown that I've talked about in my previous video. You might want to check out that video about overall trip planning mistakes, where I talk about the 3 p.m. meltdown and how to prevent it. So just because the small plates are awesome doesn't mean that I don't want you to have them. I just want you to don't forget that there's some amazing restaurants throughout all of Epcot, and you should check those out too. All right, I gotta get to a controversial one. I know that all kinds of people love to drink around the world. In fact, I always get a margarita in Mexico, a beer in Germany, and I grab alcohol while I'm there. It's part of the experience of being in Epcot. You have all these choices, and that's fine. I don't have a problem with people drinking around the world. I have a problem with people getting sloppy drunk doing drinking around the world. You gotta be careful. Remember, this is a family park, and there are families there, and you getting sloppy is not a good idea, because it can result in the kinds of things that you don't want, like a lifetime ban. I tell you a quick story, and I'm being 100% true on this, so I just want to make real with you. About 7 or 8 years ago, Michelle and I were at Epcot, and as we were going in, there was an entire group of people all riding on scooters. They probably didn't need them. They all had shirts on that said scooting around the world, drinking and rolling over toes on their shirts. I'm not kidding, that's what their shirt said. We knew there were gonna be a problem. All day long, we saw these people just get slowly more and more and more wasted. And then at the end of the night, we were waiting at our favorite spot for fireworks. More on that later. And I saw one of the plainclothes security officers standing next to one of the carts with the shirt over the handlebars. So I knew who it belonged to. So I walked up to him and I asked him, hey, everything okay? And he looked so angry. And I'm pretty sure he shouldn't have answered me, but he looked so angry. And he goes, well, I don't like having to wait by this scooter as someone comes to pick it up. I said, what happened to the owner? And he goes, well, they'll never be coming back into the park ever again. Don't make that mistake. Just telling you. All right, we're getting to the end of the night, and one of the things I want to tell you about is that you should really understand that staking out a spot for the fireworks is a must. There's plenty of spaces all around World Showcase to see the fireworks from, but especially now with Harmonious, with that big loop facing a specific direction, you want to make sure that you can see into it clearly. And while being front and center is perfect, I actually highly recommend the spot right after the Cantina de San Angel, next to Mexico. There's an excellent spot right there that you can still see the front of the hoop from that little area. But here's the problem. You actually are going to need to stake it out early because other people know that these good spots exist. I mean, there are bad spots, trust me. Try watching the fireworks from France with all of those trees in the way. It's really annoying. I highly recommend that you really pay attention to where you watch the show from. So if you're gonna pick a spot, you're gonna have to stake it out and you're gonna have to stand and wait. The best part is if you're with a group of people, someone could be the drink caddy and go and get something and you can stand there, enjoy a drink, have a great conversation, rest your feet for a little bit, and then see the show. I just recommend that you stake out an excellent spot and know where you wanna be and be there earlier than you think you have to, all right? Trust me. The final mistake a lot of people make is that they don't utilize the extra magic hours. Now, they're a lot different than they used to be. It used to be every single Disney park guest would get random extra magic hours in the morning and at night. And right now, everyone gets 30 minutes to go in early. I recommend using that, especially since if you want to get on those rides, there's going to be way less people getting in those lines at that time. However, Disney has done a little bit of a thing to the extra magic hours, and at night, they have made it so people staying in deluxe or DVC accommodations can stay for an hour to 2 hours extra in either Epcot or Magic Kingdom. Now, I understand that that limits the number of people who can use it, but at least use the morning half hour if you can, because trust me, you will thank me for being able to just pretty much walk on like 2 or 3 rides before anyone else is in the park. And I recommend if you're staying in a deluxe accommodation or a DVC space that you are using the extra magic hours at night. I can't tell you how much Michelle and I absolutely adore taking a slow stroll around World Showcase in those extra magic hours. It's amazing. And I even have friends who have kids who have said the same exact thing, that they believe that having that slow stroll around the World Showcase really makes for a great night. So make sure you utilize those extra magic hours. All right, there you have it, folks. All of my tips on how to make sure that you don't blunder your way through Epcot. I love Epcot. I want you to love it too. And if you watch out for these things, I'm sure you're gonna have a great time. Hey, I really appreciate you coming and watching this video. If you could hit the like button, I'd really, really appreciate that. And also, punch that subscribe button. That subscribe button really does help out the channel. So please, doing those 2 things really does help out, and I'd love to be able to share more of my insight with you. We're going to continue with a lot of these don't do's at parks in the very near future, and we have some exciting live streams planned too. Michelle and I don't like to say goodbye because we're going to see you real soon. So we say, see you bye.